Hello everybody and welcome to chapter 32 of the book of Shemot as we continue to travel through Tanach. Chapter 32 has 35 verses and it starts towards the bottom of page 586 and 587 in the Koren Sachs Chumash. This is one of the most dramatic and devastating chapters in the entire Torah, the sin of the golden calf, the Chet HaEgel. While Moshe is on top of Har Sinai receiving the Torah, the people see that he is delayed in coming back down from the mountain, and they fear that he is gone. In their panic, they gather around Aharon and demand a replacement spiritual figure to lead them. A golden calf is fashioned, an altar is built, and the nation celebrates in a chaotic and spiritually dangerous festival. Meanwhile, on top of Mount Sinai, Hashem tells Moshe that the people have corrupted themselves. Hashem threatens destruction, but Moshe pleads on their behalf. When Moshe comes down from the mountain, he sees the calf. He shatters the luchos, the tablets of stone. He destroys the golden calf, confronts Aharon, and calls for loyalty to Hashem. The tribe of Levi responds, and a punishment follows in which people die. And the chapter ends with Moshe preparing to go up again to seek atonement for Bnei Yisrael. Before we start this chapter, it's important to focus on one of the biggest misconceptions, being that Bnei Yisrael suddenly stopped believing in Hashem, and that is why they started worshipping the idol of a golden calf. Most of our rabbis say that is not what is going on over here. The people panic because Moshe, who represents their visible connection to revelation, to the divine, seems to have gone. In fact, our sources point out that the Satan showed the Israelites an image of darkness and confusion, and this convinced them that Moshe had died and they were left alone and vulnerable. And so this Chet HaEgel, this sin of the golden calf, doesn't begin with rebellion, it begins with fear. They immediately seek a replacement intermediary. And so the calf is not a rejection of Hashem. Instead, it is a catastrophic attempt to make spirituality tangible and controllable. With that introduction in mind, let us turn to chapter 32, verse 1. Vayar ha'am, and the people saw, ki voshesh Moshe laredes min hahar, that Moshe was long delayed in coming down from the mountain. What seems to have happened is that they knew he was going up for 40 days, but they started counting from the wrong point in time. And as a result, when they get to day 40, it's still only day 39 in the true count, and so Moshe hasn't come down yet. But reaching this point, seeing that Moshe is not coming down, being presented effectively with an AI image that was designed purposely to manipulate them and think that something had happened to him, this is what sparks this unusual reaction. Vayikahel ha'am al Aharon, and the people gathered around Aharon, Vayomer elav, and they said to him, Kum, rise up, Aseh lanu Elohim, asher yelchu lefanenu. Make us gods to go before us. Ki zeh Moshe ha'ish, because this man Moshe, asher ha'elanu me'eretz Mitzrayim, who brought us out of the land of Egypt, lo yadanu mehayalo. We have no idea what has become of him. Verse 2, Vayomer aleihim Aharon, and Aaron said to them, Paraku nizmei hazahav, asher ba'oznei neshechem, b'neichem, uv'noseichem. Remove the rings of gold from the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, v'haviu elai, and bring them to me. And our rabbis explain that the reason why they request this gold instead of the gold that they probably had amongst their own possessions is because he thought that this would delay the process long enough for them to change their minds. Don't forget, the women are extremely righteous, and so maybe they are going to be resistant and they will refuse to give up the gold that's in their jewelry. Vayis paraku kol ha'am es nizmei hazahav asher ba'ozneihem. So all the people took the gold rings from their ears, vayaviu el Aharon, and they brought them to Aharon. Verse 4, Vayikach mi adam, and he took it from their hands, vayotzer oso bacheret, and bound it up in a cloth, or as others translated, fashioned it with a chisel, vayaasehu egel masecha, and made a molten calf. Vayomru, and they said, Eile Elohecha Yisrael, asher ha'elucha me'eretz Mitzrayim. "This is your God, O Israel, which brought you up from the land of Egypt." And our rabbis explain that this is the Erev Rav who are speaking to the Bnei Yisrael at this point. These are the people who are trying to lead them astray. Verse 5, Vayar Aharon, and Aharon saw, Vayiven Mizbeach lefanav, and he built an altar in front of it. Vayikra Aharon, and Aaron announced, Vayomar, and he said, Chag ladonai machar, tomorrow will be a festival for Hashem. And our rabbis point out that Aharon building this altar and taking time over it and announcing that tomorrow is going to be when they celebrate this, these are all tactics to try and stall and delay the Bnei Yisrael in the hope that Moshe will come back and order will be restored once again. Verse 6, Vayashkimu mimacharas. They woke up early the next day. Vayalu olos, vayagishu shlamim. And they offered up burnt offerings, and they brought peace offerings. Vayeshev ha'am le'echol, and the people sat down to eat, v'shaso, and to drink, vayakumu letzachek, and they got up to revel. And our rabbis point out that this is an allusion to the fact that they murdered Chur, who had been trying to stop them from proceeding with this. Now, Chur is a name that we might be familiar with because he was Betzalel's grandfather from the tribe of Yehuda, and Betzalel is the individual who was given the responsibility of crafting the Mishkan. And our sources explain that Chur had opposed the people who were demanding the golden calf, and essentially a mob killed him. So Aaron sees the nation is spiraling out of control. He sees what they have done to Chur, and so Aaron is doing all he can to prevent total collapse. Nevertheless, it is quite poignant that this episode, which is taking place before Betzalel actually builds the Mishkan, means that the Mishkan carries a profound layer of complexity and continuity, because it's through building the Mishkan that the Jewish people are hoping to rebuild the relationship that was so damaged by this sin with the golden calf. Let's continue. Verse 7, Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe, Hashem said to Moshe, Lech raid, quick, go down from the mountain, Ki shiches amacha, because your people have become corrupt, Asher leisa me'eretz Mitzrayim, that you brought up from the land of Egypt. Verse 8, Saru maher min haderech, they have strayed quickly from the way, from the path, Asher tzivisim, that I have commanded them. Asu lahem egel masecha, they have made themselves a molten calf, Vayishtachavu lo, and they are prostrating themselves to it, Vayizbechu lo, and they are sacrificing to it. Vayomaru, and they've said, Eile Elohecha Yisrael, Asher ha'elucha me'eretz Mitzrayim. And they have said, this is your God, O Israel, which brought you up from the land of Egypt. Verse 9, Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, and Hashem said to Moshe, Ra'isi es ha'am hazeh, I have seen this people. Vehinei, and behold, am kshei orefu, it is a stiff-necked people. Verse 10, Va'ata, and now, Hanichali, don't try and stop me. Vayicharapi vahem va'achalem, let my anger flare up against them, and I shall annihilate them. Ve'eseh esecha legoy gadol, and I shall make you a great nation. And so, with everyone's lives on the line, verse 11, Vayichal Moshe es panei Adonai Elohav, Moshe pleaded before Hashem, his God, Vayomer, and he said, Lama Adonai yechere apacha ba'amecha, why, Hashem, would you unleash your anger against your people? Asher hotzeisa me'eretz Mitzrayim, whom you brought out of the land of Egypt, b'choch gadol, with great power, uviyad chazaka, and a strong hand. Verse 12, Lama yoru Mitzrayim lemor, why should Egypt say the following, Bara hotziam, you brought them out with evil intent, laharogo sam beharim, to kill them in the mountains, ulachalo sam me'al pnei ha'adama, and to annihilate them from the face of the earth. Shuv mecharon apecha, turn from your fierce anger, v'inachem al hara le'amecha, and relent from doing evil to your people. Verse 13, Zechor, remember, la'Avraham, li'Yitzchak, li'Yisrael, avadecha, remember your servants, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yisrael, asher nishbata lahem bach, to whom you swore by your very self, v'tadaber aleihem, and you said to them, Arbe es zarachem kechochvei hashamayim, I shall increase your offspring like the stars of the heaven, v'chol haaretz hazos, and this entire land, asher amarti, of which I spoke, etein lazarachem v'nachalu leolam, I shall give to your offspring, and it shall be their heritage forever. Verse 14, Vayinachem Adonai, Hashem reconsidered al hara'ah asher diber la'asos le'amo, regarding the evil that he declared he would do to his people. Verse 15, Vayifen, then Moshe turned, Vayered Moshe min hahar, and descended from the mountain, Ushnei luchos ha'idus biyado, with the 2 tablets of testimony in his hand, Luchos kasuvim mishnei evrehem, tablets inscribed on both their sides, Mizeh u'mizeh hen kasuvim. They were inscribed on one side and the other, on the front and the back. And our rabbis point out that these tablets had a number of miracles that applied to them. You could read the wording from both sides. That's unusual if you've engraved something the whole way through, because if you turn it around, it should be backwards. And yet a miracle occurred and you could read these luchos from both sides. Verse 16, V'haluchos ma'aseh Elohim heima. The tablets were the work of God. V'hamichtav michtav Elohim hu. And the writing was God's writing. Charus ala luchos, engraved on the tablets. Verse 17, Vayishma Yehoshua es kol ha'am bareyo. Yehoshua heard the sound of the people shouting. Vayomer Moshe, and he said to Moshe, Kol milchama b'machaneh. The sound of war is in the camp. Verse 18, Vayomer, and he said, Ein kol anos gevura. It is neither the sound of triumph, ve'ein kol anos chalusha, nor the wailing of defeat. Kol anos anochi shomea. What I hear is the sound of revelry. Verse 19, Vayihi ka'asher karav el ha'machaneh. As he approached the camp, Vayar es ha'egel u'mecholos, and he saw the calf and the dancing. Vayichar af Moshe. Moshe's anger flared up. Vayashlech miyadav es haluchos, and he threw down the tablets from his hands. Vayishaber osam tachas hahar, and he shattered them at the foot of the mountain. Verse 20, Vayikach es ha'egel, and he took the egel, the calf, asher asu, that they had made, vayisrof ba'esh, and he burnt it in the fire, vayitchan ad asher dak, and he ground it to a fine powder, vayizer al pnei hamayim, and he scattered it onto the water, vayashk es bnei Yisrael, and he made the Israelites drink it. And though this sounds like an unusual punishment, it was actually a test of their loyalty. Anyone who had got swept up and caught up in the celebrations of this golden calf was going to face the consequence for their disloyalty. Verse 21, Vayomer Moshe el Aharon, and Moshe said to Aharon, Me asa lacha ha'am hazeh. What did this people do to you? Ki hevesa alav chata'a gedolah, that you should have brought so great a sin upon it. Verse 22, Vayomer Aharon, and Aharon said, Al yicha af Adoni, do not be angry with me. Ata yodata es ha'am ki varahu. You know that the people are set on evil. Verse 23, Vayomru li, and they said to me, Aseh lanu Elohim, asher yelchu lefanenu. Make us a God that will go before us. Ki zeh Moshe ha'ish, for this man Moshe, asher ha'elanu me'eretz Mitzrayim, who brought us up from the land of Egypt. Lo yadanu mehayalo, we do not know what became of him. Verse 24, Va'omar lahem, and so I said to them, Lemi zahav his paraku. Who has gold? Take it off. Remove it. Vayitnu li, and they gave it to me. Va'ashlichehu va'esh, and I threw it into the fire. Vayetze ha'egel hazeh, and out came this calf. And in fact, our rabbis explain that it's the Erev Rav who performed some witchcraft and some sorcery, and this is what happened. Aharon threw the gold into the fire, and a miracle occurred, and a golden calf emerged and came out and walked out of the fire, according to some of our sources. Verse 25, Vayar Moshe es ha'am. Moshe saw the people, ki faruahu, that the people were running wild. Ki fra'o Aharon l'shintza b'kamehem. For Aharon had let them run out of control and become a laughingstock and a disgrace to their enemies. Verse 26, Vayamod Moshe b'shar ha'machaneh. So Moshe stood at the gate of the camp, Vayomer, and he said, Mi ladonai elai. He who is for Hashem should join me. Vaye'asfu elav kol b'nei Levi. And all the Bnei Levi, the descendants of Levi, gathered around him. Verse 27, Vayomer lahem, and he said to them, Ka omar Adonai Elohei Yisrael. This is what Hashem, God of Israel, has said. Simu ish charbo al yirecha. Let each of you put a sword on your thigh. Ivru vashuvu mishar lashar. And go back and forth from gate to gate, b'machaneh, in the camp. V'hirgu ish esachiv. And in so doing you will kill your brother, v'ishes reyehu, and your neighbor, v'ishes krovo, and your kinsman. This is a divinely ordained punishment that they should now take the lives of all those people who are guilty in Hashem's eyes. Verse 28, Vaya'asu v'nei Levi kidvar Moshe, and the Levites did as Moshe had ordered, Vayipol min ha'am bayom hahu, kishloshes alfei ish, and about 3,000 men fell on that day. Verse 29, Vayomer Moshe, and Moshe said, Mil'u yedchem hayom ladonai, dedicate yourselves to Hashem today, ki ish bivno uva'achiv, for each has opposed his son and his brother, v'laseis aleichem hayom bracha, may he bestow a blessing on you this day. Verse 30, Vayihi mimacharas, and on the following day, Vayomer Moshe el ha'am, Moshe said to the people, Atem chatasem chata'a gedola, you have committed a grievous sin. Va'ata, and now, Eleh el Adonai, I will go back up to Hashem, meaning on Mount Sinai, Ulai achapra ba'ad chatasechem, perhaps I can secure atonement for your sin. Verse 31, Vayashav Moshe el Adonai, so Moshe went back to Hashem, Vayomar, and he said, Ana, I beg of you, Chata ha'am hazeh chata'a gedola, this people have committed a grievous sin, Vayasu lahem Elohei zahav, and they made themselves a god of gold. Verse 32, Va'ata, and now, Im tisach chatasam, if only you would forgive their sin, V'im ayin, and if not, if you won't, Mechenina mesifracha asher kasavta, please erase me out of the book that you have written. He's putting everything on the line, even asking for Hashem to take him out of the picture if it means that the rest of the people can be saved. Verse 33, Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, and Hashem said to Moshe, Mi asher chatali emchenu misifri, whoever has sinned against me, I shall erase him from my book. Verse 34, Va'ata, and now, Lech nechei esa'am, go and lead the people, el asher dibarti lach, to where I have told you, Hinei, and behold, Mal'achi yelech lefanecha, my angel shall go before you, uviyom pakti, and when the time comes for me to punish, ufokadati aleihem chatasam, I will punish them for their sin. And finally, verse 35, Vayigof Adonai esa'am, and then Hashem struck the people with a plague, al asher asu esa'egel asher asa Aharon, for what they had done with the calf that Aaron had made. And that brings us to the end of chapter 32. In chapter 33, we will read about the aftermath of the episode with the golden calf. I look forward to learning that chapter with you. In the meantime, have a wonderful and meaningful day.